Welcome back to ATL Day Ones. I am Tenitra Batiste, and this is Jarvis Davis. We appreciate you guys for dropping by and coming back on the other side of your long holiday weekend. Thanks again for always checking us out on YouTube. So get back to subscribing and telling a friend about us, as well as everybody on the Locked On Sports Atlanta network. And of course, anywhere that you get your podcast, definitely download our podcast and go ahead and leave us a 5-star review as well if you like what we are dishing out, and we hope that you do for the most part. Now, granted, we know you're not going to necessarily like this because we don't like the fact that yet another United player has gone down. Ronald Hernandez out for a couple months, it looks like, with an MCL injury that he sustained in this past weekend's match. So, man, Jarvis, it's like, gosh, just can't get a break sometimes here with Atlanta Metro Sports.
Yeah, I just think it's just a matter of like whatever move they make, it just seems like it's the wrong one, or it ends up being the wrong one, and
Yeah.
they're just reeling right now in order to try to figure things out because they've had so many issues as of late. So, you know, hey, they're just going to have to continue to figure it out and continue
Yeah.
to make moves to try to fill those holes that they have right now.
Exactly. When we talk about next man up, Gonzalo Pineda is definitely in that situation. At least he does have the 2 week international break to kind of figure it out. And I don't doubt that that means that club, which operates very similarly to how the Braves operate, they're going to go out and be aggressive and find the players that they need to help them through the rest of this MLS season. Now, another team that's looking to be aggressive, but is in their off season, is, of course, the Atlanta Hawks. And we are looking at being on the precipice of the NBA Finals right now. Golden State Warriors are going to represent for the Western Conference, Celtics coming out of the East. And these are two teams which really, it's like the best offensive team and the best defensive team, especially the back half of the season, are coming together for this best of seven series. But you know what, Jarvis? If you just laid at the feet of the best offensive team versus the best defensive team, that kind of simplifies this a little too much because at the end of the
Right.
day, two of these players are all NBA, Steph Curry, Jason Tatum. You make those first teams, if you will, because you bring something very, very special to the table. And both of those teams are committed to two-way play, especially for their starters, but really even with their bench play. So it really made me look at it and think to myself, okay, so you kind of see some similar blueprints in terms of how the Dubs and the C's got there. What are some of the things that maybe the Hawks can take away? And I know they're starting to tinker around with it. And some things they do like the Dubs, some things they do like the C's. But what are maybe some of the other things that you see in the rosters that that both of these teams are bringing to the table come Thursday, that the Hawks can step back and say, hey, maybe we're kind of seeing a blueprint we can use so that we can get back into competition where we're going deep in the playoffs next season.
I think it was kind of interesting that that to bring that to pose it like that because Chuckery on Hit Hard with John Chuckery. Make sure you go check him out. He had
Yes.
an interesting dialogue or monologue, so to speak, about how those teams have come together, and I thought it was very interesting because it's kind of similar to what the Hawks are already starting to do, right?
Yes.
Because first of all, you got to draft well.
Yes.
I think that nobody is complaining about John Collins and what he's done since he's been a Hawk. Nobody's complaining about Kevin Hurd and what he's done since he's been a Hawk. No, you better not be complaining about what Trae Young has done since he became a Hawk. So you have pieces, right? And,
Yes.
and and I think that Travis Schlenk has brought in some guys that was able to get that team to where they got to just a couple of years ago in Eastern Conference
Mm-hmm.
Finals, and
Mm-hmm.
and maybe an injury away from getting to the NBA Finals. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Of a Trae Young. So I think right now they have to continue to follow what these teams are doing, right? Because the Celtics brought in Al Horford, right? He's
Mm-hmm.
a savvy veteran. They brought him back actually,
Yes.
because he was shipped off to the Oklahoma City Thunder, and he was kind of
Yes.
in like in La La Land over there, not doing anything. And I think that when they brought him back, the expectations really weren't that high. Like, oh, okay, you bring back Al Horford, but
Okay.
if
Right.
paying attention into the playoffs, you're like, okay, this is what they exactly what the doctor ordered. And then
Mm-hmm.
he flip over to the Golden State side, right? Andrew Wiggins was considered a bust. he probably still is a bust, but I think that no one was excited about that when
Right.
maybe even the Golden State fans were like, Andrew Wiggins, okay, whatever. Like, we'll figure it out. And then he's come to be a guy that's been somewhat of a force in the NBA playoffs for them, man. He even won them some games. I can make a case
Mhm.
for that he's won some games for
Oh,
them
no question.
throughout this playoff run. And for me, I start looking around and looking at some guys that may potentially be those type of guys, an Al
Mhm.
Horford type guy, or a you know Andrew Wiggins type guy, is a guy like Jeremy Grant, right? Because he's a
Mhm.
guy that can. He's a little versatile. He can probably maybe give you some run at the 3 or the 4 if you want to go
Mhm.
kind of small with it. He averaged about 19 points a game. Only do a 4 rebounds, so I don't know if I necessarily want another 4, maybe. That can't necessarily be consistent from a rebounding standpoint in a double digit
Mhm.
realm. That's the word I want my 4 to kind of live in.
Yeah.
So those are the type of the things that I think that Travis Schlenk has to think about when you're talking about continuing to follow the blueprint
Mhm.
that the Golden State Warriors and the Boston Celtics have set.
Yeah, and if we're honest about it, Golden State definitely had some quirky things kind of happen to them, right? In this
Right,
whole 8 year stretch where they're going to the NBA Finals 6 time in 8 years, if you will. And one of the quirky things was a 2 year stretch where you kind of saw shades of Steph Curry, but Steph was injured a lot. And then
right.
of course Klay
Klay
Thompson was out
Thompson. Yep.
completely. And then Jonathan Kaminga was out. That was a back and forth piece for them as well. Kevon Looney had his issues. So the thing about them is they can figure out viable pieces when somebody viable goes down. So
Yeah.
that becomes the question, and consistent. When I say viable, I mean consistent pieces, right?
Right.
And the same thing for the Celtics. Now, everybody who's been listening to me for, I don't know, the better part of 3, 4 months, whether here or on other platforms, knows that I slid down the wall when the Hawks didn't get Derek White. Say what you will. But
Yeah.
that was where my heart was kind of disappointed. And Jeremy Grant was actually somebody I looked at as well, like for a possibility, but and the Hawks were thinking about him too at that trade deadline, but
Yeah.
just might work out. Pistons didn't get any offers that they wanted, so they just decided to keep him, and they could very well decide to keep him because they may say, "Hey, having Kate Cunningham, we have some pieces we'd like to just add and see what that turns out to be." But my
Right.
point being, if you're going to be like the Celtics as well, and you say, "Hey, we're bringing back Al Horford, we hope to get something out of him, and then we really get something out of him." And then Derek White, you can intersperse him, bring him into the starting lineup, bring him off the bench. He works. You can do the same thing when you're talking about Robert Williams, if you will. You talked about Marcus Smart. You just got interchangeable pieces that
Right.
seem to work. That's the question for me. So I don't even know Jarvis at this point because so many names are being bantered around, right?
Yes.
Zach Levine, Bradley Beal, even Joel Embiid.
DeAndre Ayton.
I mean, we could just go
Everybody.
but I mean, really, you could just open up a book, and it's funny you said that because I was looking at some odds makers this morning, right, and talking about who should go where, and I said, oh, that's interesting. The Hawks keep creeping up everybody's board in terms of
Right.
possible free agents, and the Hawks being in the conversation. For me, it's more of what's the blueprint that you see with the Warriors. They were able to get some good pieces in the draft, but the Hawks don't have that good luxury this year, and rightfully so, because they're getting somebody at 16, right? It's going to be a
Right.
middle of the road player. They had the same situation last year, so I don't know that you're going to get greatness unless somebody just surprises, right? So to me, it does boil down to free agency, and then you hope that you get somebody like the Celtics were able to get some bodies in free agency, if you will, and then going back to the Warriors, you hope that you get the pieces that can be in place so that if a piece goes down, you have what it is that you need to counteract that person going down.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? There's a like you have to like Travis Schlenk has to earn his check, right? Like Golden State, sought out different guys that they said, okay, just we know we have an older base, right? We know we
Yeah.
have an older core, so those guys are going to miss games. We know that, so we have to prepare for that. That's why they brought in a guy like Andrew Wiggins.
Yes.
That's why you seen a guy like Jordan Poole starting to come into his own. When it comes to what what needs to be done in those particular situations.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that Boston's they went out at the trade deadline and got a Derek White and said this is the guy who's a ball handler, because when you think about it, the way the Celtics play, they
Hmm.
don't really have a. I mean, I know Marcus Smart is
Yeah,
technically a point guard, but
right. But
he's
it's
not a
technical.
true
Oh no,
point. He's not a true
no.
point guard. So I think that when you have that diversity, once guys being able to have different roles, because Tatum can bring the rock up,
Yep.
Jaylen Brown can bring the rock up. Those guys can get into that offense, even if it's ISO Joe. That's
Hmm.
old to shout out to Joe Johnson, my guy. It's a pound the rock Joe. So you can be able to do those type of things. So
Right.
when and I think Schlenk is in a space where that is vital for him in this offseason to earn his check, because the owner said that, hey, we underachieved. Hey, this person underachieved. Hey, this person underachieved. And Travis Schlenk was in that part. It was filling the blank there. And Nate McMillan was filling the blanket there as
Mhm.
well. So I think all of those things are factors
Yeah.
that to say that all that to say is that I think this is probably the most important offseason for the Atlanta Hawks that we've seen in quite some time.
Yeah, yeah. And again, going back to the comment about ball handling, really that should be across all five because
Yeah.
honestly, Draymond Green can bring up the
Especially in
ball.
today's game. Yeah.
Exactly. And on
Yeah.
some level can even create his own shot here and there. Same thing on the Celtics side. They can really intermix pieces so very well. I love what they're able to do. And that's why I was saying in pre brief that with a Jeremy Grant type, if you can get something out of him that is a three but looks even like a two, we know he can swing to the four. But heck, if it can look even a little bit like a two, I'm all for it. What I'm
Right.
not for is folks who get on the football field thinking they can do things that really should be relegated to either the club or what they do at the spot. And then another bright spot straight out of Atlanta is shining bright on the big stage. We'll talk about it both and for the culture. On the other side, it's ATL day ones.